He helped a dirty alien beggar. Then she removed her hood and shocked the galaxy. Written in third person, using simple and basic English, and kept violation-free and engaging, the trade station floated silently above a gray moon, its metal body glowing under the soft light of a distant sun. Ships from all over the galaxy arrived here, traders, travelers, and those hiding from trouble. It was a place full of noise, light, and movement, but in a dark corner of the lower platform, someone sat completely still. She was covered in a dirty brown cloak, her face hidden under a deep hood. Most people didn't look at her. Some passed by without even noticing. Others looked once and turned away, assuming she was just another lost soul, begging for scraps in the shadows. Ryan was on his lunch break, a young human technician. He had been working at the station for 2 years. He repaired ship parts, cleaned old engines, and helped anyone who needed a quick fix. His life was simple, quiet. He liked it that way. But today something made him stop. He saw her near the garbage ducts, barely moving. The crowd rushed around her, but she sat still like a statue. Something about her posture caught his eye. She looked tired, not just from walking, but tired deep inside. Ryan slowed down and looked closer. Her hands were trembling, holding a small, empty cup. He hesitated. He didn't know who or what she was under that hood. But then he remembered the small food packet in his jacket pocket, extra noodles from yesterday, warm enough to eat, sealed tight. He walked over. "Hey," he said gently. "You hungry?" She didn't speak. Slowly, she turned her head toward him. Her face was mostly hidden, but he saw her lips part slightly as if she wanted to speak. Instead, she simply nodded. Ryan took the packet out and placed it beside her. "Here, it's not much, but it's warm. You can have it." Her hands reached out slowly. She touched the packet like it was made of glass. For a few seconds, she didn't move. Then she pulled it close, opened it, and ate with quiet, careful bites. Ryan watched her for a moment, unsure if he should say anything else. Finally, he took off his spare jacket and placed it beside her. "It gets cold at night down here. You can use this," he said. Still, she didn't say a word. But this time her head dipped slightly, a soft nod of thanks. Ryan walked away, feeling a strange pull in his chest. He didn't even know her name. But something about her felt different. Later, that evening, back in his tiny workshop, Ryan couldn't stop thinking about the hooded figure. He had seen many beggars before. Some were harmless, some were just waiting for a ship to take them home. But she didn't seem like any of them. She wasn't begging loudly or asking for attention. It was like she wanted to disappear. He shook his head. "Not my business," he told himself, but his thoughts didn't listen. The next day, Ryan passed the same spot during his morning break. To his surprise, the figure was still there. She wasn't eating this time. She was just sitting with her arms wrapped around the coat he gave her. When he walked past, she looked up, and this time she spoke. "Why?" Ryan blinked. Her voice was quiet, almost like a whisper. "Why? What?" he asked. "Why help me?" He shrugged. "You looked like you needed help, that's all." She stared at him for a moment, then looked down again. "Most don't stop." "I'm not most," Ryan said with a small smile. "You okay?" She didn't answer, but he noticed something strange. One of his tools, a small metal scanner, hanging from his belt, started beeping. It only beeped when near active energy, yet they were nowhere near a power source. He looked at the scanner, confused, then looked at her. Her head was down, but something inside the hood seemed to faintly flicker. "Are you injured?" he asked. She shook her head. "Just tired." Ryan knelt down. "Listen, if you need a place to rest or something to eat, my workshop isn't much, but it's safe. I'm Ryan, by the way." She hesitated again, then spoke. I'm called Lai." "Nice to meet you, Lai," Ryan said. "You can come by later if you want. I'll leave the door unlocked." He didn't expect her to say anything more, and she didn't. He got up and walked away. But behind him, Lai watched quietly. her eyes hidden under the hood. For the first time in a long while, she felt a strange feeling. Safety, and deep beneath the layers of dirt and fabric, something powerful stirred. He helped a dirty alien beggar, then she removed her hood and shocked the galaxy. Written in third person using simple and basic English, and kept violation-free and interesting. The workshop was quiet that evening. Ryan sat on the floor, fixing a broken control panel from a cargo ship. The lights flickered above him and the smell of oil and metal filled the room. He worked slowly, his mind still thinking about the alien girl he had met. Lie. He hadn't seen her again after their short talk. Maybe she was gone. Maybe she didn't trust him. He wouldn't blame her. This station wasn't safe for people like her, alone, unknown, and clearly hiding something. Still, he left the door unlocked, just in case. Then, without warning, he heard a soft knock. Not loud, just enough to get his attention. He stood up quickly and opened the door. There she was. Lai stood in the doorway wearing the same dirty cloak, still hiding her face under the hood. But something was different tonight. Her shoulders were shaking and she looked tired, even weaker than before. "I didn't know where else to go," she said softly. Ryan stepped aside. "Come in, you're always welcome." She entered slowly, looking around the small space. It was a mix of tools, wires, and spare parts. A small heater glowed in the corner. Ryan grabbed a blanket and handed it to her. "Sit. Rest. You're safe here," he said. She sat near the heater, pulling the blanket around herself. Her hands were cold. She looked around, taking in everything as if it was the first safe place she had seen in a long time. Ryan boiled some water and made her a simple meal, instant soup and bread. He placed it in front of her. "It's not much, but it's warm," he said. Lee stared at the bowl for a moment before slowly starting to eat. Her movements were quiet and gentle. She didn't look up much, but Ryan didn't push her. He just sat nearby and returned to his work. For a while, there was silence. Then she spoke. "They're searching for me." Ryan paused. "Who?" She didn't answer right away. Instead, she looked at his scanner again, the one that had beeped near her the other day. It was sitting on a shelf, silent now. "You're not just a traveler, are you?" Ryan asked carefully. Lai finally looked up. "No. I was born to a family. A line that once ruled a world that no longer belongs to us." Ryan blinked. "Your royalty?" "I was. Before they destroyed everything." She spoke slowly, as if the words were heavy. "They hunted my kind, erased our names. I escaped, but only barely. I've been hiding ever since." Ryan didn't know what to say. He had only wanted to help someone in need. But this was bigger than anything he had expected. "But why come here? Why not go somewhere safer?" he asked. Lai's voice was calm but sad. "Because here I could disappear. No one looks at beggars, no one asks questions." Ryan nodded slowly. He understood. The trade station was the perfect place to hide, a place filled with thousands of faces and nobody caring about the ones in the shadows. Then Lai added something strange. "My body carries something, a signal, a mark. They can trace it, but I've been suppressing it, hiding it. When I'm weak, it slips through." Ryan now understood why his scanner had beeped. "You're emitting energy," he said. "That's why the tool reacted." She nodded. "If I stay too long in one place, they'll come. I can't risk anyone else, that's why I should leave." Ryan stood and walked over to her. "No," he said. "You don't need to run anymore, not tonight. You can rest here, we'll figure it out together." Lai looked at him. Her eyes were still hidden, but her voice was clearer now. "You don't even know me." "I know enough," Ryan replied. "You needed help. I helped. That's what matters." For the first time, Lai lowered her hood just slightly. Just enough for him to see a part of her face, pale silver skin, glowing faintly in the light. Her eyes were deep violet, filled with pain and something else, hope. "You're different," she whispered. Ryan smiled. "People tell me that sometimes. Later that night, while Ryan slept, Lai sat by the heater watching the small flames. Her fingers traced the inside of the coat he had given her. It was warm, stitched with care, and smelled of machine oil and kindness. For years she had run, hiding her name, her power, and her purpose. But tonight, for the first time, she felt something she had forgotten long ago. Safety. And deep inside her, the ancient signal flickered once more. Ryan woke up to the sound of soft movement. He sat up quickly, thinking maybe something had fallen. But it wasn't a broken tool or a damaged part. It was Lai, standing near the door, her head tilted as if listening for something beyond the metal. "Walls, is everything okay?" Ryan asked quietly. She turned to him. "Something's wrong, I feel watched." Ryan frowned and got up. "No one knows you're here." But Lai didn't look convinced. Her hand was on her side, gripping something under her cloak. Her face was serious now, the calm look from last night completely gone. Just then, someone knocked on the outer door of the workshop, loud and firm. Ryan's heart skipped a beat. Very few people came here, especially early in the morning. He moved to the door and peeked through the crack. 2 station guards stood outside, dressed in dark red uniforms with silver armbands. They looked official, but also tense. Ryan opened the door a little. "Can I help you?" he asked. One of the guards stepped forward. "We're conducting a security sweep. We received a report about unauthorized energy spikes in this zone. Anyone suspicious around?" Ryan kept his face calm. "Nope, just me here. I've been working through the night." The guard didn't look convinced. "Mind if we look around?" Ryan hesitated for a second too long. That's when Lai stepped into view behind him. She didn't speak. She didn't move much. But the guards saw her, and their eyes widened. "That's her," one of them shouted. "She matches the alert." Ryan slammed the door shut and locked it quickly. "Lai, hide." But it was too late. The guards began banging on the door and calling for backup. Lai looked at Ryan, her voice calm but firm. "No, now I have to leave." "No," Ryan said, pulling open a hidden hatch in the floor. "Go through here. It leads to the lower tunnels. I built it in case of emergencies." She paused for a second, looking at him. "Why are you helping? Me? Even now?" He looked her in the eyes. "Because you're not just a runaway. You're someone important, and you trusted me. That's enough." Lai nodded, her expression softening. Then she climbed into the hatch. Ryan closed it just as the outer door broke open. The guards rushed in, weapons drawn. Ryan raised his hands. "She's gone," he said. "I don't know where." They pushed past him, scanning the area, checking every corner. One of them grabbed Ryan's scanner device and looked at the log. "Energy spike detected." "Yesterday," the guard muttered. "Who is she to you?" the other guard asked. "I gave her food." "That's it?" They stared at him for a few seconds, longer, than finally left, frustrated but empty-handed. As soon as they were gone, Ryan reopened the hatch. Lai was still there, waiting. "You didn't run?" he asked. "I wasn't going to leave you behind," she replied. Ryan helped her out, and the two of them sat quietly for a few moments. Then Lai slowly pulled back her hood, and this time, she removed it completely. Ryan stared in silence. Her skin was pale silver, almost shining. Her violet eyes glowed slightly in the dim light. A soft blue line ran down the center of her forehead. In the middle of it was a small symbol, one Ryan had only seen in old books and news broadcasts. It was the royal mark of the Nizari Empire, he whispered, stunned. "You're the heir?" She nodded. "Yes. I am the last of my line. My name is Lysera Valen, and my enemies want me erased from history." Ryan sat back, trying to take it all in. "Why come here?" "To this station?" he asked. "Because no one would expect a royal to live like a beggar. I could hide in plain sight." "And that signal you mentioned?" Lysera nodded. "The mark on my forehead is not just a symbol. It's a living signal built into my DNA. It can awaken systems hidden deep in my people's planets. Defenses, knowledge, even power others fear. Ryan stood and paced. So that's why they're hunting you. You're not just a person. You're a key. Yes, she said. And I can't activate it alone. I need help. Ryan looked at her with determination. Then I'll help, whatever it takes. She smiled softly. You're the first person to truly see me, Ryan. Not just the mark, not just the danger, but me. He returned her smile. Then let's make sure the galaxy sees you too. Ryan had never been part of anything important. His life had always been about fixing broken machines, tightening bolts, and cleaning up after others. But now, inside his small workshop sat a girl who could change the galaxy. Lysera, the last heir of the Nizari Empire, stood near the wall where old circuit boards were stacked. Her silver skin shimmered under the dim yellow lights, and her eyes watched every shadow, every sound. She was calm, but Ryan could feel her fear deep underneath. They'll be back, she said softly. Now they know I'm alive. Ryan nodded. Then we don't wait for them, we move first. He pulled out a dusty datapad from a drawer. This station has an old communication tower that's no longer used. It's hidden, half broken but still connected to the deep wave relays. If we reach it, we can send your message to any system you want, even Nizar itself. Lysera looked surprised. That signal could reach my people, the ones still hiding. That's the idea, Ryan said. But it won't be easy. The guards are already on alert. She stepped forward. I've been hiding for years, Ryan, but now I want to be seen. Ryan smiled. Then let's light up the stars. The two of them packed quickly. Ryan took a backpack filled with tools, wire, and a portable power source. Lysera carried only a small pouch and her cloak. They exited through a back duct and slipped into the lower tunnels, away from patrols and security cams. The tunnels were dark and full of rusted pipes. Strange sounds echoed from far away, drips of water, metal clanks, and soft buzzes from broken lights. But Ryan knew the way. He had spent years exploring every corner of the station, finding shortcuts no one else cared about. As they moved, Lysera asked, "Why did you help me, before you knew who I was?" Ryan didn't answer at first. Then he said, "You looked like someone who needed help. That's all. You could have been anyone. It didn't matter." Lysera looked at him. "That's rare." Ryan gave a soft laugh. "Maybe, but I think the galaxy needs more of it." After half an hour, they reached the old comms tower. It stood tall in the center of a locked chamber. The walls were covered in vines and dust, leftover signs of alien plants used to absorb heat and radiation. The control panel blinked weakly, but it still had power. Ryan connected his tools and began working. It'll take time to get it online. Most of the circuits are fried. Lysera nodded and stood guard near the door. As Ryan worked, he spoke without looking up. "What do you plan to say once the signal goes out?" Lysera's voice was steady. "The truth, that I'm alive, that I remember my people, that I want peace, not revenge." Ryan paused, then said, "They might not all believe you." "I know," she replied. "But even if one does, it's enough." Suddenly, a loud noise echoed down the tunnel. Heavy boots. More than two. "They found us," Ryan said. Lysera ran to him. "How long do you need?" He looked at the wires. 3 minutes. She took a deep breath and pulled something from her pouch, a small crystal device with soft blue light. "I didn't want to use this," she said, "but I'll buy you time." Ryan stood up. "No, we stay together." But Lysera touched his arm. "You already gave me a second chance. Let me use it." Before Ryan could argue, she stepped out of the room. Outside, the guards saw her immediately. "That's her. Open fire." But Lysera raised her hand. The crystal glowed bright, and suddenly a wave of blue energy pushed through the tunnel, knocking the guards back. It didn't harm them, but it stunned them long enough for Ryan to finish the signal. Inside the tower, Ryan activated the final circuit. The screen lit up. "Connection established," it said. He loaded the message Lysera had recorded earlier. It was her voice. calm and strong, sharing her identity and calling for unity among her people. Then he pressed send. Lysera returned moments later, tired and weak. "It's done," Ryan said. "The message is out." She smiled faintly. "Then, the stars have heard me." Alarms started to ring across the station. The energy spike had been detected. More ships would come soon, some friendly, others not. Ryan looked at her. "What now?" Lysera stood tall, even though her legs shook. "Slightly? Now, we wait, and hope the galaxy remembers who I am." The station was no longer calm. After Lysera's message was sent, everything changed. The deep-wave signal had reached across systems, waking up old receivers, hidden allies, and enemies alike. Inside the control tower, Ryan and Lysera could already hear the distant sound of sirens. The guards were spreading through the lower levels, searching. "We have to move," Ryan said, grabbing his tools. Lysera was pale, her energy still weak after using the crystal device, but she nodded. "Where do we go now?" "I have a friend," Ryan replied. "He owns a cargo shuttle. He might not ask questions if we move fast." The two of them escaped through another tunnel. Ryan knew a secret route, an old passage, used by mechanics during maintenance drills. It led directly to Dock Bay 7. They ran through narrow halls, stepping over broken wires and avoiding patrols. Once, a guard almost spotted them, but Lysera pressed her hand against the wall and released a small pulse of energy that short-circuited the nearby camera. It gave them just enough time to pass without being seen. At Dock Bay 7, Ryan's friend Leo was loading crates onto his small ship, the Dust Runner. He was a rough-looking man, older than Ryan, with gray in his beard and grease on his hands. When he saw Ryan running in with a hooded figure, he raised an eyebrow. "This better not be trouble," Leo said. Ryan caught his breath. "I need a favor. We need to leave. Right now." Leo looked at Lysera, her hood still low but glowing slightly from within. His eyes narrowed. "Who is she?" Ryan didn't lie. "She's someone important, someone the wrong people want to catch. She just sent a message that's going to wake the stars." Leo stared for a moment, then sighed. "I knew one day you'd drag me into something wild." Ryan smiled. "Is that a yes?" "Yeah, get in. But we'll have to move fast. The station's locking down." As the Dust Runner lifted from the platform, sirens screamed across the station. Red lights flashed. Doors began to seal. Patrol ships took flight, but Leo had already plotted a course through a small gap in the docking net. They escaped into space just in time. Ryan helped Lysera to a seat. She looked out the window, watching the station grow smaller. "I never wanted this much attention," she said. "But now they know you're alive," Ryan replied. "And that means your people have hope." A few hours later, the ship's alert system beeped. Leo checked the screen. "We've got something incoming." Ryan looked worried. "Pirates?" Leo shook his head. "No, not pirates. Look." A large ship appeared in front of them. It was old but powerful, its design clearly not from Earth. Symbols of the Nizari Empire glowed softly on its hull. Lysera stood up slowly. "That's one of our ancient cruisers, hidden before the war." A message flashed on the screen. "Air, Fallon, we received your signal. We are coming aboard." Ryan looked at her. "Are you ready for this?" She nodded. "I have to be." The boarding shuttle docked, and from it stepped 3 Nizari warriors, wearing armor with blue and silver markings. They knelt the moment they saw her. "Princess Lysera Valen," the lead warrior said. "We feared you were lost." "I survived," Lysera replied. "And I want to reclaim our world, not with war, but with truth." The warrior looked surprised. "You've changed." She nodded. "I've learned from others, especially from humans." He looked at Ryan. "You are the one who helped her?" Ryan stood nervously. "I just did what I thought was right." The warrior gave a small bow. "Then you have done more than you know." Ryan and Lysera were welcomed aboard the Nizari ship. It was massive compared to Leo's shuttle. filled with glowing lights, clean halls, and old symbols from a lost empire. The ship had stayed hidden for years, waiting for the true heir to return. That night, in her private quarters, Lysera looked out at the stars. Ryan stood beside her. "Everything's moving so fast," he said. "It has to," she replied. "There's no turning back now." "But what if more enemies come?" She looked at him and smiled. "Then we face them. Together." Ryan nodded. He had once been a simple mechanic. Now he was standing beside a princess, one who had hidden in rags and now wore the hopes of her people like a crown, and deep inside he knew this was only the beginning. The halls of the ancient Nizari ship were wide and silent. Every wall glowed with soft blue light and strange symbols floated on the control panels. Ryan walked slowly, still trying to believe everything that had happened. Just a few days ago, he was fixing engines in a forgotten workshop. Now he was on a royal starship beside an alien princess. Lysera stood in the command room, facing a large round window. Her silver skin reflected the stars. Her hair, once hidden under her dirty hood, now flowed neatly behind her shoulders. She wore a clean, dark robe with her family's symbol stitched on the chest, a blue flame wrapped in a silver ring. A message had gone out from the ship to nearby systems. Allies, exiles, and forgotten Nizari loyalists were responding. Many were surprised, some were cautious, but a few had already started moving toward Lysera's location. "They heard me," she said quietly as Ryan stepped beside her. "I wasn't sure they would, but they did." Ryan smiled. "Of course they did. Your message was strong and honest." Just then, the captain of the ship entered the room. His name was Varric, the same warrior who had bowed to Lysera earlier. "We picked up another signal," Varric said. "One of the old rebel factions. They're not happy." Lysera turned. "Do they know where we are?" "Not yet," Varric replied. "But they're trying to find us, and they've joined with a few bounty groups." Ryan frowned. "So they're not just going to sit back and watch, they're planning something." Varric nodded. "They want to silence her before she grows stronger." Lysera took a breath. "Then we send another message. Not a warning, but a promise." Later, inside the ship's main broadcast room, Lysera stood in front of a glowing camera lens. She looked calm, but Ryan could tell she was nervous inside. He gave her a quiet thumbs up from behind the screen. The recording began. "This is Lysera Valen," she said clearly. "Daughter of the Nizari Empire. I speak not as a ruler, but as someone who has walked among the forgotten. I have seen the pain caused by silence and fear, and I say no more." Her voice grew stronger. "I will not run. I will not hide. To those who remember honor, stand with me. To those who want peace, join us. And to those who still follow hate, know this: I am not alone." She paused. "A human helped me when I had nothing. He saw me not as a royal, but as a life worth saving. That is the future I want." The message ended. The signal was sent. Ryan stood beside her and said, "That was perfect." She smiled. It had to be. A few hours later, the ship's sensors detected incoming vessels. 4 ships, all fast and armed, approached without replying to any hails. "They're not here to talk," Varric said. "They're here to end this." Lysera looked at Ryan. "We can't outrun them." He nodded. "Then we don't run." She tilted her head. "We don't?" "No," he replied. "We make them see what we're willing to protect." Inside the ship's cargo bay, Ryan and the Nizari crew prepared defenses. Old cannons were activated, shields were raised, and the energy core was charged to full power. But Ryan had another idea. He connected his tools to one of the external communication dishes. With help from the crew, he modified it to send out a repeating burst of Lysera's speech. "If they want to fight," he said, "let them hear her words while they try." As the enemy ships moved closer, the speech echoed across their channels. 2. Their surprise, 2 of the ships slowed down. One stopped completely. Varric stared at the screen. "They're hesitating," Ryan smiled. Maybe not all of them are heartless, but the other two ships opened fire. The Nizari cruiser shook from the blast, but its shields held. Varric ordered the defense turrets to return fire. Blue light lit up space as energy beams shot between the ships. One enemy ship was hit hard and started spinning. The last one tried to retreat but was caught in a shield trap and disabled. Within minutes, it was over. They had won. Lysera stepped onto the bridge again. The crew stood silently, watching her. "You fought for me," she said. "I will not forget it," Varric nodded. "We followed your signal, now we follow your lead." Ryan stood beside her, feeling a strange pride. He had never fired a weapon, he hadn't worn armor, but he had helped send a message that changed everything. Lysera looked at him. "This is your victory too." He shook his head. "It's yours. I just reminded you that you were never alone." The ancient Nizari cruiser drifted through the quiet of space, its silver hull bright against a field of distant stars. Inside, the crew worked with fresh purpose. Repairs from the short battle were nearly finished, and new messages kept arriving. From far systems, loyalists ready to join the lost princess who had spoken with such clear hope. Ryan walked the main corridor with Lysera at his side. Wherever they went, warriors and engineers paused to bow, but Lysera gave each one a friendly nod instead of a formal salute. She wanted them to feel like partners, not servants. Ryan liked that. It felt real, different from the cold stories he had heard about old royal courts. They stopped at a wide window that looked toward the blue-green glow of a distant planet. Varric, the tall captain, met them there. "Status?" Lysera asked. "All major systems are steady," Varric said, "and signals keep coming in. More ships will reach us in 2 days. One group claims they guarded a hidden vault after the fall. They say it holds scrolls signed by your ancestors." Lysera's eyes brightened. "Proof that our line stood for peace. That could change minds." Ryan smiled. "Good news keeps finding you." "But not everyone is happy," Varric warned. "The rebel faction you spoke of, those still loyal to the council that overthrew your family, they are gathering too. Their fleet is large." Lysera took a steady breath. "Then we must reach Nizar first and speak to our people before the rebels twist the story." Ryan looked at Varric. "How long to jump to Nizar?" Varric scratched his chin. "With the old engines, maybe 18 hours. We can leave at once, but the trip will strain the core." Lysera nodded. "Do it. If we wait, fear will spread faster than truth." 18 hours later, the cruiser exited hyperspace on the edge of the Nizar system. The moment they arrived, sensors came alive with alerts, multiple ships ahead, many without clear flags. Some identified as friends, others stayed silent. Far below, the green and silver world of Nizar shone in the light of its twin suns, looking peaceful but uncertain. On the bridge, Lysera stood at the center console. Ryan stood just behind her, hands resting on the rail. "Open a wide channel," she ordered. "I will speak to everyone at once." A round projector lit the room with a faint hum. Tiny lights blinked as it connected to thousands of receivers. Merchant, ships, scouts, hidden camps on moons, even old satellites still circling Nizar's atmosphere. Lysera took one heartbeat to calm herself, then spoke. "This is Lysera Valen of the Nizari line," she began, her voice carried by gentle but firm waves across space. "I survived because strangers showed kindness. I returned because silence brings only more pain. I seek peace, no throne of fear, no rule by force. I call on all Nizari, old and young, to remember who we were before greed darkened our sky. Stand with me and with our human friends who believed in us when we hid in rags." As the words traveled, Ryan watched the monitors. One rebel cruiser powered down its weapons. A second ship moved aside to open a clear path. More small signals blinked green, signs of acceptance. But a few remained red, shields up and guns hot. Varric pointed at 3 red icons closing in. "Those are rebel flagships. They're aiming at us." Ryan leaned toward Lysera. "Your speech broke their unity. They're desperate now." Lysera met Varric's eyes. "Raise shields, but hold fire. Let them see we will not strike first." The rebel lead ship hailed. A rough voice filled the bridge. "Imposter, step down or be erased like the rest of your line." Lysera answered calmly. Her voice carried back across the channel. "My people will decide, not guns," the rebel voice spat back. "Your people chose years ago. We are their choice." Before Lysera could reply, a new signal cut through the noise. Earth Fleet Code. Ryan's heart jumped as sleek human cruisers warped into view, forming a protective wall in front of the Nizari cruiser. Their hull lights flashed a friendly blue. A human admiral's calm tone followed. "Nizari vessel, this is Earth Diplomatic Fleet. We received Princess Lysera's message. We stand ready to keep the peace." Ryan felt sudden pride. Humanity had answered. Seeing the human ships, two of the rebel cruisers backed away, engines flickering between fight and flight. Only the lead rebel captain stayed bold. He screamed into the channel, "Humans have no place here." Admiral Perez, a woman with steady nerves, replied, "We stand where courage calls, Captain. Lower your weapons or be disabled. No life need end today." The rebel captain hesitated, then fired a single shot, not at Lysera but at the human flagship. The beam splashed harmlessly off thick shields. Earthfleet answered with precision fire, targeting the rebel's engines without touching its crew decks. Sparks flew and the angry ship drifted powerless. Silence followed, broken only by the distant hum of drives. More green lights filled the rebel fleet's icons. One by one, they powered down. The fight was over before it truly began. On the Ur bridge, Varric exhaled. "It's done." Lysera bowed her head to Admiral Perez on the screen. "Thank you, Admiral. Your help saved many lives." Perez smiled gently. "We only did what your friend Ryan did first, helped someone who needed it. Earth hopes to build something good with Nizar." Lysera's eyes softened. "You have my word, we will." She turned to Ryan. "You changed my path more than anyone. Will you stay, with me and with Nizar?" Ryan felt the pull of engines far beneath his feet, the echo of a station workshop long behind him. He thought of wires, broken hull plates, the soft voice that had first whispered, "Why help me?" He nodded. "I will stay. Not as a hero, just as the person who first saw you." Lysera smiled, brighter than any star outside the window. "That is exactly who Nizar needs." Epilogue. Weeks later, Nizar's great capital city buzzed with life. Across its plazas, banners in silver and blue waved again. Among crowds of Nizari and human visitors, children pointed up at a new statue. Two figures standing together. A princess with a calm gaze and a human holding a simple repair tool, both looking toward the sunrise. Underneath, a plaque read, "Hope begins with a single act of kindness." And high above the city, twin suns rose over a planet no longer afraid, shining on a future built by trust, between a lost princess who had once begged in rags and the human who chose to help her when everyone else walked past.